Today we expose one of India's most chilling serial killer cases, a predator who stalked the streets of Chandigarh for 14 years, raping and murdering women, while remaining completely invisible to police despite living in the same neighborhood as his victims. Picture this. July 30th, 2010. A 21-year-old MBA student named Nia Alawat leaves her home in Sector 38 West Chandigarh to attend English-speaking classes. She never returns. Her semi-naked, blood-stained body is found in bushes near a taxi stand just 500 meters from her home. She had been raped and brutally murdered. The case goes cold, filed as untraced in 2020 after police failed to find the killer. Then, 12 years later, another woman is murdered in Maloya with identical patterns. Then another in Sector 54 in 2024. What investigators discover is terrifying. All three murders were committed by the same man, a 38-year-old taxi driver named Monu Kumar, who had been hiding in plain sight for 14 years, evading capture by having no mobile phone, no Aadhaar card, no bank account, and no digital footprint whatsoever. Tonight, we unravel how Chandigarh serial killer hunted for 14 years undetected and how a single DNA sample finally brought him to justice. The first murder, Nia Alawat, 2010, July 30th, 2010, Nia Alawat. A 21-year-old MBA student pursuing mechanical engineering at Sardar Patel College left her home in Sector 38 West, Chandigarh, around 6 p.m. to attend English-speaking classes in Sector 15. She was driven, ambitious, and had her entire life ahead of her. Nia was described by her professors as exceptionally bright and destined for great things. Her family had sacrificed to afford her education, believing she would break cycles of poverty through achievement. She never returned home. That evening, her family reported her missing to Chandigarh police. The next morning, her semi-naked, blood-stained body was discovered in bushes near Karan taxi stand in Sector 38, west, just 500 meters from her home. The crime scene was horrifying. She had been raped, brutally beaten with stones, and strangled. Her body showed severe injuries, suggesting a violent struggle. Her scooty, with bloodstains, was found nearby. Chandigarh police launched an intensive investigation. They collected DNA samples from the crime scene, including semen found on her clothing. A forensic report in 2013 confirmed she had been raped. But despite questioning 500 suspects and conducting extensive investigations over years, the case went cold. In 2020, police filed an untraced report in court officially closing the second murder, Maloya, 2022, January 2022. 12 years after Nia's murder. A 40-year-old vegetable vendor was found brutally murdered near her house in Maloya, a neighborhood in Chandigarh's outskirts. Her body showed the same horrifying pattern: raped, beaten with stones, and strangled. The killer had dumped her semi-naked body in a forested area, apparently trying to conceal the crime. Police initially investigated this as a separate crime, but the modus operandi was eerily similar. Isolated woman, attacked in a secluded area after dark, raped, strangled, body dumped in bushes. Investigators began to suspect they were dealing with a serial killer. The pattern was too distinct to be coincidence. The third murder, Sector 54, 2024, February 2024, 2 years later. A 55-year-old woman was murdered in Sector 54, again. The pattern was identical: raped, beaten with stones, strangled, body dumped in bushes. This time, investigators were certain the same man was behind all three murders. The timeline, 2010, 2022, 2024, suggested the killer had been operating with impunity for years, possibly taking breaks between murders. The breakthrough came through modern DNA profiling technology. When the Maloya victim's DNA was analyzed and compared with national databases, forensic experts found that semen collected from her body matched samples from Nia Alawat's 2010 crime scene. The DNA was a match with the assailant, investigators confirmed in a landmark report. Police now knew they were hunting a serial rapist and killer who had been operating undetected for 14 years. They formed a special investigation team, led by SSP Kanwar Kaur, one of Chandigarh's most respected senior officers. The investigation intensified, with police collecting DNA samples from over 100 suspects in the area. Investigators narrowed the suspect profile: a man aged 25 to 45, height between 5 feet 6 and 5 feet 10, likely a local resident familiar with the area. What? What made Monu Kumar so difficult to catch was his complete lack of digital footprint. He had no mobile phone, no ADR card, no bank account, police revealed during investigation. He was a cunning operator who never applied for ADR, avoided phones during crimes, and lived completely under the radar of government systems. Monu was a taxi driver by profession and sold vegetables in Maloya to supplement income. He knew the area intimately and could move freely without arousing suspicion. He was also drug addicted, which may have fueled his violent crimes. His lack of digital presence made him invisible to modern surveillance and tracking systems. While other criminals were caught through phone records and financial transactions, Monu operated in the analog shadows. With DNA evidence connecting the cases, police conducted sophisticated criminal profiling. They identified behavioral patterns: solitary offender, no evidence of accomplices' local knowledge, familiarity with Chandigarh's geography and victim locations, sexual, predator. Rape was a consistent element across all murders, violence escalation, increasing brutality and successive crimes. Lack of witness awareness, crimes in isolated areas at night police. Increased surveillance in areas where murders occurred. They stopped vehicles at night checkpoints, looking for matches to the profile. They collected DNA samples from hundreds of suspects, storing them in forensic databases. After months of profiling 800 suspects and collecting extensive DNA samples, police finally got their break. Monu had left Chandigarh for Amritsar, trying to distance himself from investigations. But when he returned home in May 2024, police were waiting. Initially, Monu denied involvement in all crimes. But when confronted with DNA evidence, the indisputable biological proof linking his semen to victims, he confessed to all 3 murders. During interrogation, Monu revealed his modus operandi in chilling detail. He would spot isolated women, often late at night or during bad weather. He would assault them, strangle or bludgeon them to death with stones, then rape the lifeless bodies. He would dump bodies in bushes and forested areas, leaving them exposed to wildlife. His targeting was deliberate. He selected women who were vulnerable, isolated, and unlikely to be missed immediately. He stole Nia's mobile phone after assaulting her and sold it for $300 to fund his drug habit. In the 2024 Sector 54 case, he lured a 55-year-old woman to a forest area, smashed her head with a stone, strangled her, and attempted rape before fleeing. He dumped blood-stained clothes in Dana's forest, which police later recovered and analyzed. What shocked investigators most was Manu's extensive prior criminal history. He had 6 cases registered against him in Chandigarh for theft and culpable homicide. Most disturbingly, he had been acquitted in a 2008 rape and murder case in Himachal Pradesh involving a 5-year-old girl. The case was dismissed due to lack of evidence. If that case had been properly prosecuted with modern DNA analysis, Nia Alawat might still be alive. His 2008 acquittal created a dangerous precedent. A man who had murdered a child walked free due to insufficient evidence, only to kill again 14 years later. On November 27, 2025, a Chandigarh district court convicted Monu Kumar of rape and murder. He was found guilty under IPC sections 300 to murder and 376 rape. The court sentenced him to life imprisonment and imposed a fine of 1 lakh. The verdict brought emotional scenes in the courtroom as Nia's parents broke down, finally experiencing closure after 15 years. Her mother collapsed in her husband's arms, while her father wept openly. Monu showed no remorse during sentencing. He sat impassively as the judge pronounced sentence, his face betraying no emotion. The Monu Kumar case represents a landmark breakthrough for Chandigarh police. It demonstrates how DNA technology can solve cold cases decades old. It also reveals the challenges of tracking criminals who deliberately avoid digital footprints. In an era where most people are traceable through phones, bank accounts, and ADR, Monu remained invisible for 14 years. The case also highlights the importance of centralized DNA databases. When Maloya victims' DNA was analyzed, matching against Neha's 2010 sample revealed the serial pattern. Without modern database systems, these connections might never have been made. The broader implications: Monu Kumar is not India's only long-term serial killer. The 2006 Noida serial murders, Pandher and Kohli, also involve killers operating undetected for exploring questions. How many serial killers operate undetected in India? Does India's legal system have the forensic capacity to identify serial patterns across cases? Should DNA databases be expanded to include all arrested individuals? How can police track criminals who deliberately avoid digital footprints? Why was Monu acquitted in the 2008 child murder case? The systemic failures that enabled the murders. Several system failures allowed Monu to operate for 14 years. Lack of interagency coordination. The 2008 Himachal Pradesh case and 2010 Chandigarh case weren't connected. Inadequate forensic analysis. The 2010 case went cold for 12 years despite DNA evidence being collected. Missing digital footprint. Monu's deliberate avoidance of technology left him invisible. Isolated crime scenes. Victim selection in remote areas meant fewer witnesses. The ultimate question. Monu Kumar hunted undetected for 14 years because exploited gaps in India's investigation systems. If DNA technology hadn't advanced sufficiently, would he still be free? If police hadn't connected the 3 cases, would he have killed again? What do you think? Should India create a national DNA database of all arrested individuals to catch? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this exploration of Chandigarh's 14-year serial killer disturbed you, hit like, subscribe to Silent Conspiracy, and ring the bell.